Yeah.
I've got two indications that our podcast has started.
We're live. What? God dang it. It's gone. It's gone. All right. What's up, everybody? This is the Four Horsemen Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Josh Romine. With me tonight, we got Josh Van Cleve. What's up, dude? How are you?
What's going on, everybody? I'm good. I'm good.
Got Alex Deviney Stoner. What's up, man?
We definitely have one horseman. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. And Brent Locker. How are you, Brent?
That was a pretty smooth one there.
Yeah, it's rough. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. I'm sick. I've been sick since Saturday. I really thought that my voice was going to come back. It was completely gone yesterday at work, and I have to talk on the phone a lot and talk on the radio, and people hated me yesterday. So anyways, now I'm going to host a podcast, so why not? We were going to have Van Cleve do it, but I could quite literally not give up the reins to the show. So we're just going to go ahead and do it. We are going to be talking some injuries today. A lot of stuff went down this last week. It was a pretty big week as far as injuries go. We're going to do a week 3 preview. We're going to throw in some daily stuff that we haven't really touched on in full yet. We've kind of toyed around with the idea of it, so we're going to be talking that. First of all, random question. Other than football, what are you guys watching right now? What kind of shows are you into? What are you watching?
I am in the 5th and most terribly, horrifically bad season of Chuck. It was one of my favorite shows. I was sad that they were going to end it, and then they put together one of the worst seasons in television history. And for whatever reason, I've watched the first 4 seasons, and I'm going to watch this 5th one. I don't know why. I already know I'm going to be so disturbed and sad, but that's what I'm watching.
I've never watched an episode of Chuck.
The first season and a half is fantastic. It's one of my favorite shows. It starts to kind of tail off, then the 3rd season's kind of crap, and then the 4th season's good, and then the 5th season just kicks you right in the dick.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll check it out. How about you guys? What else are you watching? Brent, Josh?
I'm watching, I'm in season 5 of Shameless right now.
Yeah, good show.
That's pretty good. Really like that. And then I just finished the last season of Grey's Anatomy, and the season premiere is tomorrow night, Thursday night.
Last season was the first season I did not watch of Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, me too. I can't watch it, man. I can't watch that real shit anymore. It affects me too much. I start just thinking, what if this happened to me? And I hate it. I can't do it.
I don't want a show without McDreamy. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right.
Get out of here.
You're right.
I actually am watching the same thing. I'm in. I think I just started season 5, Shameless, and then we already finished Grey's Anatomy a while ago. But we are going to be watching the premiere tomorrow. So pretty excited. Shameless is pretty good, pretty raunchy, pretty pretty funny though.
I think that season 5 is when you really start saying, Fiona, come on. I've been saying that last season. I know. It's just seriously, you're just making problems for yourself. I know it's a scripted TV show, and I know that this isn't real, but I'm just saying, I would slap her across the face if I were her friends.
I think she's taking over the Frank role. I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've never watched that show either, so
you have to. It's a good one.
It's really no. Yeah. I'm one of the few people that hasn't finished watching Stranger Things yet.
Just get it together.
I just finished it.
What do you think, Brett?
I'm on number 5, so it's awesome. It's so good.
I thought it was like a fun ride. I wish it was a longer season, but
yeah, I know, 8 episodes. God.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited to finish it. I love it so far. But
Netflix is killing it.
Yeah, they do.
They're really up in their game. They're taking over. But all right, let's go ahead and get into our fantasy stock watch, guys. We got to talk about some of these injuries. So
Nothing good happened.
no,
Honestly, I don't think anybody other than Matt Forte looking like a beast. I don't really think anything great happened last week.
it was a rough week. Let's start it off with some breaking news. The stock's down on wide receiver Corey Coleman from the Browns. The story is still developing, and it's really unclear how long he's going to be out. But he suffered a broken hand. It looks like. You know, he had kind of his breakout game. You know what I mean? He looked great, and then this happens.
Yeah, you look at him and you kind of saw somebody that you could start starting in your lineup. I mean, granted, Gordon's going to be coming back here in a couple weeks, hopefully. I mean, this whole arrest warrant thing is hopefully hasn't shooken anything up, but yeah, it's tough. I mean, this is a guy, especially, I mean, that offense, how many more things are going to happen to that offense?
That's not the only injury on Cleveland happened. I mean, you got RG3, now Josh McCown. I mean, that place is cursed up there. I feel like everybody's just going down.
And they were one of the teams that we were looking at as kind of the up-and-coming team, like kind of a Raiders of this year, and it's not looking good.
No, not for them.
It would suck to be a Browns fan. I mean, it kind of sucks to be a Colts fan right now, but like it would be even worse to be a Browns fan. I feel like.
I mean, like Colts are supposed to be good, but the way that their teams being put together it makes you feel bad. Cleveland's been bad so many years, and now they're finally getting hope, and then it gets taken away to them. So like, I don't know if it's like they're used to it, but like, I mean. You were excited to see what the Browns actually had. They weren't going to be good, but you're excited to see, okay, this young talent, what can it do? Like, what could it become? How like the Raiders and Jaguars were a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things that is really sad about this whole thing is that I actually went back right before the start of or right before the draft. I went and since they came back in '99, I printed out all of their drafts, and then I highlighted all the skills positions players, and there was like one or two that actually did a decent job for a limited amount of time. That's pathetic, like absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. That's bad.
I mean, does that come down to coaching or like or what?
They've had so many coaches, it has to be the owner.
Yeah, it's got to be ownership, man. That team's just
it's like the Redskins. The reason why the Redskins can't be consistently good is because they have one of the worst owners in the league.
I mean, it was the same thing with the Raiders. That's why they're finally kind of turning the corner on it.
Because the Crypt Keeper finally died. Yeah. And then the creepy Tommy, whatever his name is.
No.
He's so creepy.
He is a creep.
But he's putting together a pretty good team.
Yeah, no, they're pretty talented. All right, next piece of news. Stocks down on running back Adrian Peterson, last year's rushing champ. His 2016 campaign's all but over. Minnesota Star reports that he tore his MCL in a Week 2 win over the Green Bay Packers. Minnesota, as well as AP's fantasy owners, will have to look at Jerick McKenna, Matt Asiata, and newly signed Ronnie Hillman, which I hadn't even seen yet. So that was news to me. I didn't know they signed Hillman.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I saw Adam Schefter reported that the Vikings say that AP hasn't torn his LCL, but there's other sources that are saying that he has. So this is kind of still a developing story as well. I like even listening to podcasts from yesterday, some other people talking, like they were saying AP could suit up next week. And then some of them are saying 4 to 6 weeks. Some are saying season. Like they're literally reports are everywhere.
I honestly, I think this is one of those things because it's an epic loss for so many fantasy owners. And I think that there are people that just want to like pump the brakes on things. But the fact is that this is kind of the same type of thing that happened to like players like MJD is, huge season, huge workload at an advanced age, our age. And, the amount of work that AP has had, that, he got the rushing title last year, had over 300 carries, and his body's just breaking down, and he'll probably try to, go at it one more year. But honestly, I doubt it's going to be for the Vikings because he's owed $17 million.
Yeah.
So
I
don't
did
know.
you guys watch that play too? It didn't even look that bad.
Yeah.
Like, he got
it wasn't-
tackled like normal. He fell to the ground like normal. I mean, it didn't look that bad at
You
all.
have AP doing that, and then Marshall looks like he has his legs snapped in half,
Yeah.
and he's questionable.
Like from that, yeah, just you're exactly right. He got tackled, looks fine. He actually bounced back up. It's when he got up that he fell back down that you knew something was bad.
Yeah.
Like when he couldn't put any weight on it
Yeah.
or anything, had to be carried off. That's
When-
bad because typically, like there's some of those tears you can put some pressure on it and walk on it, but like he just couldn't put any pressure on it. He couldn't walk on it.
And that's what killed me about people that were saying, "Oh, he could be playing, in a few weeks," or it's not. If people play with this kind of thing, he can wear a brace. He could not put weight on it. It doesn't. If you can't put weight on your leg, you're not going to play. And so I thought that kind of blew my mind. Like if he came hobbling off or something like that, I could see where people were constructing these stories that he might still play even the next week and things like this. But the things that I was hearing, it's like, did you see him? He got carried out. He's not coming back.
It sounds like his timeline was all based on the type of surgery that he was going to have. And if he was going to get his meniscus snipped, he could come back in about 3-4 weeks. But if he got it repaired via surgery, he's going to be out 3-4 months and probably miss the season. So that's what it was all based around, it sounded like.
Did you guys also hear that like Dr. Andrews said like he has never seen that good of a knee? Like he was like a baby's knee, like it was nothing wrong with it. Did you guys hear that report? Dr. Andrews, Dr. Andrews, what he was doing. It's a baby's knee because it's like nothing was happened to it. It was like
baby's knee. That's a baby's knee.
That's what he said.
Oh, it's precious. Precious little baby knee.
Adrian Peterson has baby knees.
All right, let's move it on to the next piece of news. I think that the time has passed on Adrian Peterson. We've really talked this one. We've talked this one through this year. Van Cleve, I think, was the one that took the anti side of Adrian Peterson. Looks like he turned out to be right on this. So
there was a heated debate at our draft between you and I about this as well.
And the thing is, I argue that side, but it's funny. Out of all the leagues that I'm in a lot, and I don't have one single share of Adrian Peterson. So I think I was just having a good time arguing the other side of it, trying to get his stock value pushed up so other people would take him. So those other players are there for me. So
what's
Lamar Miller is too close to AP, so there was no way that you were getting AP.
Yep.
So true. So true.
Way. I was on your side, Romine, and I don't have any AP shares at all.
See, we're
funny
smart.
is I do. I have in a redraft league. I have him.
Well, I mean, redraft. Like the argument could be made, but unfortunately, the argument has been settled.
So just real quick, then, are you taking McKinnon or Asiata, Alex? Which one do you think? Not necessarily you, but in your opinion, who's going to
honestly, I hate this situation.
Yep.
I thought that it was great for McKinnon when he was a rookie because Asiata just doesn't have that burst, doesn't have and everybody was talking about how McKinnon was just this great athlete, and then I watched him run, and he had a couple of games, and then he got hurt, and then it's like he's just a backup. He's like a James Starks.
Well, Asiata got all the goal line carries.
Yeah. So maybe, it depending on if you're a PPR or if you're in a PPR, I would probably look at McKinnon. If you're not, then I would look at Asiata because he's going to get the touchdowns.
You know what I'd be doing right now if I owned McKinnon, Brent. I would be trying to trade him right now. While I think that his value is probably the highest it's going to be this season.
You can totally break.
Definitely.
Seriously though, if you guys have McKinnon, even if you went out there and picked him up this week, if he was on waivers, I'd be looking to flip him as quick as I could before he plays a game, because this right now is when his draft or his value is going to be the highest. So
I think you're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Right now, McKinnon was announced as the starter for this
Yeah.
upcoming week. So
Yeah. I mean, you could get some good value, even some draft picks or maybe out of that.
Do something. I'm not banking on that. I don't think that he is the best running back on the waiver wire this week even. So we'll talk about that later. Next piece of news, the stock is down on Amir Abdullah as a tear falls from my eye. According to NFL.com's Kevin Patra, the team announced it placed Amir Abdullah on IR after he underwent surgery for a foot injury that he suffered in Sunday's loss to the Tennessee Titans. That leaves Theo Riddick to handle a lot of the load. There's a few other running backs in there. They're talking to some guys. Dwayne Washington, I think, is there. I've been hearing a lot of stuff about him here lately. That's kind of taking
No
over the
one's
news.
talking about Zach Zenner.
Yeah, Zach
He
Zenner,
looked really good.
He's still a backup even to these other guys, but
Yeah.
Who knows, if they're keeping them on the team for just doing kick returns or what really the story was. We're going to find out this week. But what do you guys think about this whole situation, other than the fact that it's really sad?
Did you see the run? It was a beautiful run too. I mean, it was almost majestic. Like he just looked like a top tier running back, and the hit wasn't even that bad. Like he just got up and hobbled away, and I was like, he just okay. I mean, it was a hit, but yeah. I mean, I don't know.
he is designated to return, though, isn't he?
I don't even know how they do the IR anymore. Like I don't get it.
He has to be out minimum 8 weeks.
8 weeks, yeah.
Okay.
He is designated to return. So I mean, there is the possibility that he could come back, but I think that right now you had Abdullah and you had Theo Riddick. They basically did the exact same type of thing, and I think that Theo Riddick has been better overall. And I think that Theo Riddick's going to kind of run with this job.
I don't know if Theo Riddick's that every down back.
I don't think that Amir Abdullah was.
I think Amir Abdullah was more than Riddick, though.
I don't know. I see where you're coming from, and I know that it. I don't know. I just like Theo Riddick right now.
So what do you see the Lions doing then? Do you see the Lions actually putting Riddick in that role and having him run a lot of stuff, or do you see them kind of keeping Riddick at what he's been doing, which he's been doing very successfully this season, and then putting like a Zach Zenner or a Dwayne Washington in there to kind of be the Amir Abdullah role?
I don't know, because Caldwell's one of the worst coaches in the league.
Yeah, but he's got Jim Bob Cooter's going to be Bob Cooter's the offense coordinator, and I think if they're smart, they're going to keep Riddick in the position he is. Maybe see a little more work, but running back community use both those running backs to fill that role that Abdullah was, and keep the offense rolling the way it was.
See, that's the thing. They were already a committee, so you're just kind of putting the next guy in the Abdullah spot is what I think.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm saying, because Riddick it was just Riddick and Abdullah, but now you got 3 guys. I think it's going to be going through. And
see, I don't know.
I think what's scary is that they actually worked out Joik Bell. Now, I haven't heard anything else other than that, but I feel like because he's older, I think he's 31, 32, maybe even 33. And if you're going to that guy and completely, it kind of feels like you're dismissing the other 2 running backs. I mean, they have a lot of running backs on their team, more than most.
Yeah, but you know why I don't think that? Like when a running back goes down, obviously what you're going to do is you're thinking worst case scenario. So why not, if one of your main guys goes down, why not look at somebody that already knows the offense that you can bring in there in case of an emergency?
Yeah.
I could see it making sense. I picked up Dwayne Washington in our league because I feel like that is, and I picked him up over Zach Zenner because I feel like, there's still that unknown that you have with the rookie that he could be what people aren't talking about, because there was so much hype around Amir Abdullah that it kind of washed away that rookie hype because it wasn't the best situation. Could that be a situation now that people are going to start paying attention, and this guy might be somebody that people want to pick up?
Yeah, Dwayne Washington, he was a very deep sleeper for me too. He had a very productive college career, but he has that prototypical running back size. He's 6'1", like 225 pounds. He's like that AP kind of size where you love that goal line work that he's probably going to get too. So.
And I think that, this is really Zach Zenner's first season too. He went out at the end of, I don't know if it was the beginning of the season or if at the end of the preseason, but he looked really good preseason work last year. I didn't hear a whole lot about him this year. But I agree, though, that the first thing I did was I pulled up Minnesota. I looked to see if they had a rookie. Yeah. And honestly, I think that is a better play than trying to grab some of these other guys, because you don't know with a rookie. And it's just the same reason why, when Chris Johnson goes down last year, it's like, okay, who am I going to grab? I'll go with David Johnson, the rookie. I mean, it's more likely than not. What those guys, if they've been on the team for a couple of years, what they bring to the table. The team knows what they bring to the table. That rookie could take everything over.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what I'm hoping. I hope that kind of goes that route. But let's go ahead and move it into the week 3 preview. You guys want to talk about that? You feeling pumped about it?
Yeah.
First of all, let's let the listeners know. Follow us on Twitter. We're the number 4 Horsemen Pod. You can email us at the number 4 Horsemen Pod at gmail.com. I still check it, and it's usually just emails from Brent about articles and never any questions. So if you guys get on there, send us a question. I'd love to actually answer something. But yeah, so let's talk some preview games. Brent, you want to start us off? Game tomorrow. It is the Texans at Patriots. I think I got that right.
Yeah, you got Jacoby Brissett. He's going to be starting quarterback for New England Patriots, going against a tough Houston Texans defense. I'm hearing Julian Edelman has been
a backup
all week as the backup quarterback. So I think if you were worried about Julian Edelman's matchup with the Texans defense, you might throw him in there now for the upside that you might get some passing stats. They might even design a couple plays for him too. As far as the Texans are concerned on that side of the ball, New England Patriots have played a couple of crap teams so far. Well, I can't say that. They Arizona Cardinals,
right?
Who Roman loves so much. Yeah, I think you still start Hopkins. I think it's a good matchup. Osweiler might be pressured quite a bit that game.
Is Will Fuller a must start?
I think so. Flex,
yeah,
at least. He's shown it the first 2 weeks. I don't see why you should be worried about the not starting.
Do you guys think Garoppolo's going to actually play? They didn't bring in another quarterback. They're really pushing him.
No.
Putting pressure on him, saying Tom Brady play with injury like that.
No, I don't see him playing.
He's doubtful, right?
Yeah, it's a dislocated shoulder, basically.
I don't think it's happening.
Yeah.
But, you guys, you want to go ahead and pick them?
Yeah.
Alex, who are you taking?
I think I've got to go Houston simply because the Patriot way can only work for so long. And after, what was the difference in points when Brissett took over? They couldn't get anything going anymore. And Miami, now granted, it was basically all garbage time from the second quarter on, but they almost came back because they were ineffective in everything except for rushing. So, I mean, I think that Houston kind of caught a break here.
Yep. Van Cleef, who you got?
I'm taking Houston as well.
All right. Brent?
I will take New England.
Oh, of course you will. I am going to take the Texans. All right. Alex, how about the Cardinals at the Bills onto our 1 p.m. slate of games?
Oh, man. I can't imagine being a Bills fan, which my mom is. The Bills just don't look good. They were one of the teams I really thought was going to come out and do something. I've never been a big Tyrod Taylor fan, but I thought that they had other pieces. Their defense doesn't look very good. Their offense doesn't look very good. I mean, Sammy Watkins is kind of their linchpin there. He's basically going to be questionable for the rest of the season, it seems like, and he did not look good the other day against the Jets. I mean, Arizona's just going to throw on them, run on them, everything.
Yeah, what about those Arizona Cardinal wide receivers?
Definitely not Michael Floyd.
It's still
he got
happening.
a touchdown. He got
He
one
did.
touchdown.
That was literally it.
Yeah, that was it.
It's still coming. Breakout's
Yeah.
coming, baby.
You're going to be telling me this in 4 years.
Probably.
Fitzgerald is still amazing. He's absolutely fantastic. What's really kind of crazy is that John Brown, second week in a row, non-existent. Jerron, is that his first name? Jerron Brown actually did quite well, and he was kind of the number 4 target. Didn't get a whole lot of work, but he's been showing a lot of promise. So I don't know if he's kind of starting to, if there's a flip of the Jay Browns.
Yeah.
What's going on? David Johnson has not put together the fantasy stats that you have wanted, but when you look at what he's been doing, if you see film of him, he just looks amazing.
Absolutely.
He just looks like one of these games is going to be that 50-point game that you get 3 touchdowns and he has 100 yards on the ground and 100 yards receiving or something like that. He looks like he could be one of the best running backs in football.
Yeah, unless he gets injured, we are going to see one of those games this year. So,
oh God,
because he looks so good, he's fun to watch. The way he cuts his vision, he's just he's a freak. He's so good. All right, let's pick it. Alex, who you got?
I've got Arizona.
Good. Van Cleef?
I think the Bills are going to start the season 0-3, and Rex Ryan is going to be in the hot seat. He's going to be next to go after the offensive coordinator.
Get him out of there. Brent, who you taking?
Arizona.
Let's go ahead and sweep that. I will take the Cardinals as well.
They were talking about in that game, I don't know if you guys watched, how many Buffalo Bills players got plucked essentially from the team when Schwartz moved over to Philly. Like there was I don't know, 4 or 5 that got picked off of either free agency or trade or whatever.
Just real quick on that game, it's just like they fired the offensive coordinator, but they were scoring points. It was their defense was the problem.
Yeah. Well, and their defense, stupid Rob Ryan is whatever, some sort of special coach. I don't know. Get him off. He is the worst coach. I don't understand why he still has a job.
He's an assistant head coach.
Oh God.
Not only is he a bad coach, he looks ridiculous. So
he's so stupid.
I don't like him. All right, Van Cleef, talk to us about the Raiders at Titans.
I actually think this is going to be a decent game. The Titans played Detroit pretty tough last week. They're not looking too bad. They're 1-1, but I think it's going to be a good day for the Raiders offense, though. You got to look like what you've been seeing out of Derek Carr and Amari Cooper. Derek Carr's already had 4 touchdowns in the past 2 games. Amari Cooper has over 200 yards in the past 2 games. So I think, you have those 2 guys who are a must start. Latavius Murray has been not outstanding, but he's been a consistent back that you can put in and you can at least get some usable points out of him. He's not going to win it, but he's not going to lose it for you in your fantasy. So I think he's a good one to still start. I think he still must start him. The Titans, like I ever say, they're starting to look good. They still got the running game going. DeMarco Murray's looking pretty decent. He's getting more involved in the passing game as well. You don't see him exploding in the running game, but he is getting those nice, like I said, those nice catches out of the backfield that helps with those fantasy points. I think Tajay Sharp is decent. He hasn't blown up yet, so I think he's going to be one of those, maybe a flex spot, but I think you still set him on your bench, wait to see what he's going to produce. Mariota, if you're in a 2-quarterback league, no bye weeks have started yet. So I don't know if he's a starter quite yet as far as fantasy, but if like you have these injuries that are coming up, and he's available, then I'd play him over some other these rookies that are playing now. But I look to see this would be a tougher game than people think. But I think the Raiders, because the Raiders defense has not been looking the way it's supposed to. They've got a lot of talent on that defense, but it has not come together for them, and they've given up a lot of points. I think they've given up like 60 some points over the last 2 games, which is ridiculous. So I think they're easy to score on, but their offense keeps up with any other offense in the league. So.
Yeah, I think this is the week that the Raiders defense show us what they really are. They've been in some tough games. They've played some tough offenses. The Saints and the Falcons are no joke. I think that the Titans are kind of in a league separated from them. So,
One thing I don't know if you guys have ever looked it up. I was watching Red Zone and they popped in a couple of times, and Latavius Murray, I was like, oh my gosh, he is enormous. He is 6'3". Mm-hmm. That's insane.
He's a big dude.
That is crazy for a running back. That's crazy.
I mean, he's pretty quick too, but I don't think he's able to really shed so many tackles.
I was gonna say that's why he gets so tired so fast. It's just carrying around that big body. That's you gotta have somebody to switch him out with. Alex and I have kind of talked about this off camera, but I'm not worried about Latavius Murray yet. Like concerned, maybe, worried not yet. I think that this is kind of what they need, is to be able to, it's not great for the fantasy owners, but for a football team, they get Murray in there early in it, use him, and then they bring in somebody else that's got some fresher legs. So
I think honestly, for fantasy use, I think he is what he is. I don't think that. I think he's that consistent guy that you can put in. Like, okay, I know I can at least get this points out of him.
Yeah, so, he's not going to be David Johnson. He's not going to look like that. But I mean, when I've seen him, he's looked good. I mean, he's kind of the guy that I think of when I use my point. Like when a running back is going to be a good running back in the NFL. Well, the first time that Latavius Murray ever touched the ball, I ran for a touchdown. It was like 70 yards or something like that. Like you can tell when a running back is a running back and that can start in the NFL,
right?
Like right away.
I feel like he's like an ideal RB2 for your team. Like he's what you want behind your number one guy. So
yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and pick it. Alex, who are you taking?
That stat that VC just threw out about how bad the Raiders defense has been kind of throw me a little bit, but I still think I'm going Raiders. Yeah. DeMarco Murray's looked really good though in that offense, though, I will say.
Yeah, they used Derrick Henry a little bit more last week too, which was good to see. They're a pretty good run team. Van Cleef, who are you taking?
I'm taking the Raiders. I know the defense has given up a lot of points. At some point, that talent has to come together and mesh together. I don't think that the Titans' offense is as powerful as, like you said, as those first two teams. And I definitely know the Raiders can outscore them. So I think the Raiders are still going to take a win just because they can outscore them.
Yep. Brent, you go in a different direction?
It's going to be a very close game, I think. I think Tennessee's offense is going to take it to Oakland, but I think Oakland's offense is a little more powerful, so I think I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Yep. God, boring. Let's sweep it again. I'll take the Raiders. All right, Brent, you got the Redskins at Giants.
Redskins at Giants. Well, Kirk Cousins has not played well, and his teammates are telling him that as well. And hopefully it'll kick him into gear a little bit. And I'll say this about Kirk Cousins. If you do have him on your team, he's missed probably about 4 or 5 touchdown passes by mere inches. And that's his fault completely. But if he hits on those, all of a sudden I think we're flip-flopping and talking about how much of a fantasy quarterback he actually is. But right now, this is kind of that he's going up against a tough defense with the Giants. They've really shown quite a bit in the pass defense side. So you might bench Kirk Cousins this week. I think Jordan Reed's going to be a good check down option, so definitely start him. I'm not liking Matt Jones. I know he got a touchdown last week, but he is really not showing anything. They're more of a pass-oriented team, and he's not even getting a whole lot of catches either. So Matt Jones is just a bench option at this point. But I really love everybody on the New York Giants this week. Start all Beckham and Shepard and Eli. You can throw on the Redskins, and I'm taking the Giants in this matchup for sure.
Rashad Jennings?
You can roll him out, but I think they have a pretty decent rushing defense. He is hurt, though.
And Jennings is terrible.
Yeah, he is real hurt right now. If you have Shane Vereen, I would start him over Rashad Jennings.
Do not start.
Do not start Shane Vereen either.
I'm just saying, if you had both of those guys and you had to start them, start Shane Vereen. He gets the pass catches.
So, Brent, you think this is the week that Odell bounces back? You see him putting up could he have that big, 150-yard game, 2 touchdowns?
I can totally see that. I mean, he missed 1 touchdown catch last week. He dropped it, and he would have had a phenomenal week if that was the case. So,
I saw that touchdown drop. Oh.
Do you guys think that now, since Victor Cruz is back, they have Sterling Shepard, that Eli's going to now spread the ball around and Odell won't get as monstrous numbers as he had in the past?
I don't think so. Honestly, I when you look at how many times he's been targeted, you see how many catches he has. It falls in line. The problem is he's just not getting the yards. So I don't know if it's just he just hasn't hit his stride yet, or what it is, or if Eli just isn't throwing the long bombs as often as they used to. I don't think that it's because of having other options, because he's getting those targets.
I heard someone say the other day that Odell Beckham has never caught a touchdown when Victor Cruz is on the field.
Well,
I never.
Well, that's
that's
like 3 games, right?
Still, it's relevant.
No, that's not relevant. That's not relevant at all.
It could be. You don't know that.
It's like saying that Shepard is or that Odell Beckham has never caught a touchdown with Sterling Shepard there too.
Also true.
That is true.
Also true.
It is also true, but it's the same exact stat.
Yeah, I'm just
the same stat.
I thought it was
Ruben
funny.
Randall's there.
Sign him back.
Don't you dare say anything bad about Ruben
Randall.
Well, I mean, I believe last year Odell had a slow start as well, though, to the season.
Yeah, I think that this is the game that he bounces it back. So
I think you continue rolling Odell out.
You got to remember though, he's probably going to
him.
be on Josh Norman, so we'll see how that matchup goes.
I don't want to hear about this Josh Norman thing. I don't think he's that good.
They're both going to get ejected.
I hope not.
I hope not too. That'd be lame. All right, let's pick it. Alex, who you taking?
Oh God, this is disgusting. I don't want it to be, but it's gonna be the Giants. I just think they have a way better team.
Yeah, Van Cleve. Who you got?
Man, I can see the Redskins trying to pull this off since it's a divisional game and a must-win. I know it's week 3, but it's just still a must-win in the division because they don't want to get behind, and they don't want to get behind because Giants are already 2-0, Eagles are already 2-0. If they lose this game, they're that division slipping away.
They're already 3 games back. Yeah.
But then the Giants defense. Oh man,
take the Redskins.
I don't. Wait. First off, I just want to say I understand. I understand that they stopped New Orleans, and they did a pretty good job on Dallas. Don't start singing the praises of a top 5 defense out of.
I never said it was top 5 defense.
No, I'm just saying. I just wanted to throw it out there.
It's more so their passing defense.
Yeah,
you can still rush on them.
They spent some money in free agency to get a defense,
they did.
And if those guys can gel together, I think that they can be a good defense. Or not can be. I think it will be a good defense.
Yeah.
Just pick the game. Come on.
Fine, I'll go Redskins.
Good.
Oh, we did it.
Brent, who you taking?
I took the Giants back when I gave my spiel.
Oh, did you? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
So you taking the Redskins too?
I'm taking the Giants.
Oh, okay.
I think Eli has a big game, and I hope I want to see it. So All right, Alex, your favorite game of the week? It's Browns at Dolphins.
Ball. Oh, God. Well, I mean, we've already kind of touched on the fact that, it's been a rough start to the season for Cleveland. Well, it's been a rough start to the season for Miami. This is kind of the put up or shut up year for Tannehill. I am not a Tannehill fan. I do not think he's a good quarterback, which sucks because I have Devontae Parker. But I think that Devontae Parker is still viable because they're just a bad team. They are a terrible team, and they're trying to figure out things in their rushing game. Honestly, I really want to see Drake out there. I don't want to see a Ajayi that can't get his head on straight. I don't want to see Arian Foster. I want to see what Drake can do. And I honestly think this is already a lost season for Miami. I know that that's not how they would go in and think it, but I think that it's time for them to see what they have. And throwing Kenny Stills out there is so ridiculous. Put Carew out there, get Landry out there, go those three guys, see what you have. This is just a dumpster fire game, guys.
So who's starting then? Like, are you saying anything?
I'm definitely starting Parker because he ended up with over 100 yards.
And he was hurt during that too.
Yeah.
Imagine when he's healthy, what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's still a fantastic option. I think that
they were playing from behind by quite a bit in New England.
But I think that's going to be normal. I really think that's going to be normal for them.
Even against the Browns, though?
Fair. Probably not. But if there's a team that you want to be playing as Cody Kessler of the Browns, minus Ndamukong Suh, the Dolphins are going to be it. They're not really good anywhere. Like I think a lot of us kind of thought that maybe the Dolphins would be a sneaky defense. They haven't looked very good. And I don't know if that's just because their offense isn't really clicking. But
is there anyone on Cleveland that you would start against Miami's defense?
Maybe if you really have to start somebody, the sneaky pick is probably Terrell Pryor.
That's what I was thinking too.
It looks like Corey Coleman's going to be out.
I say
Crowell. Garrett Blunt, he ran all over Miami last week.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe Crowell.
You could say Crowell too. He's actually getting the touches and the volume there, which we didn't expect.
Okay, I'm going to pump the brakes on Crowell because if you minus that 90-some yard touchdown run, he had like 35 yards.
I understand that, but they're using him and going.
They're using him, but
they have a rookie quarterback. They're not going to be throwing down like a bunch. Like they're not going to be opening the playbook up for Kessler.
Yeah,
they're going to be doing something, even dump passes to the tight end, to the running back. So I think Crowell is a viable option because he's going to get the touches. He's going to be trying to. They're probably going to run that offense through him and Duke.
Well, I was going to say, would you rather start Crowell or would you rather start Duke Johnson in a PPR league?
I would say Crowell because it seems like he's getting most of the work.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm kind of shocked on how little Duke Johnson's been used, like overall. But I don't know. There's just something that just stinks about this week for me, for Cleveland. I don't want to touch any of it. If I don't have to, I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't think you have to. I would start my Dolphins. I'd start Jarvis Landry for sure. I think he's going to have a great game, Tannehill. But
what running back are you starting? Because Foster has a hamstring issue.
I'm starting Ajayi personally. I think that with whatever problems he's had, Miami can look past that kind of petty stuff. They look past it with Devontae Parker. They've done it in the past. Why not give Ajayi a chance? He doesn't look great, but I mean the Browns suck. So
I wouldn't start him though this week.
If you had to, what if all your running backs got hurt?
Okay, that's true.
You had AP. You had
a matchup.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah. If you had a bunch of those running backs, and it could have happened, like you had Jamal Charles.
It actually happened in our league. So I mean, we had a guy lose AP and Jonathan Stewart, and he already lost Charles. So
I mean, if a what if situation, then yes. But
I'm just saying it
viable
could
options out
happen.
there. Okay.
All right, go ahead, Alex. Pick this game.
Dolphins.
God. All right, Van Cleef,
Dolphins.
Brent.
Miami is a 9.5 point favorite, so I'm
Oh,
going to pick
God.
Miami.
Ooh,
That's the only time they've been a 9.5 point favorite, probably in the last like 10 years.
damn. Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins as well. All right, Van Cleef, Ravens at Jaguars.
All right, the 0-2 Jaguars. It's actually a surprising start. Most people think
Jaguars suck.
yeah, they're not. The defense isn't looking that good. The offense doesn't seem to be clicking. Where's Allen Robinson been at?
It's Blake Bortles' fault.
You think so? Why do you think
I blame Blake Bortles. Not good.
it's not good? We did debate about this, but I mean, it's really tough. I mean, you thought Yeldon was going to step up big last week because of Ivory being out, and he just didn't really produce like you were hoping to. Like I said, Allen Robinson didn't show up last week. The only player I think must start. I mean, you have to start Allen Robinson because he's the number one wide receiver, and Blake Bortles. But I think the most consistent player on that team is Julius Thomas.
Yeah.
And I think that you continue to roll out those guys. I'm still even playing Allen Hurns in some leagues. You're still trying to play these guys because that offense can't, when it clicks, it can be clicking. They're going against. Sorry, that didn't mean that.
When it clicks, it clicks.
I just want to point out that during our preseason tight end ranks, I had Julius Thomas ranked the highest at a top 5 tight end, number 5.
Go pat yourself on the back, buddy.
I just did.
Good call.
Do you want a cookie?
You deserve it.
Depends on what flavor.
Real quick before, do you guys see that again? And I'm a Blake Bortles fan, but is Blake Bortles going to be like the next Phillip Rivers, where his stat line is great? He's a good fantasy stat, but his team just is never. I mean, how often has he had just an embarrassment of riches, and just can't do anything?
But Phillip Rivers has injury issues. As far as his team, everybody around him is injured. Blake Bortles has all of his teams. He's got great talent around him, except for the running back position is a little iffy right now. I mean, he's got Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns, he's got Julius Thomas, and so he's got Chris Ivory who can run. But I mean, he's obviously injured now. But I think so. He's got talent around him. I just don't know why he can't put something together. He's going against the 2-0 Ravens. Their defense is actually a little bit better than people are expecting this year. It's nothing like blowing them out.
Soft 2-0 though.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I mean, but they're still 2-0, and to win in this league, it's very tough. But I think you're still starting the Jaguars, rolling them out another week. I think if Blake Bortles doesn't put up the numbers that you're looking for, I think that you can look for alternatives to stream, maybe look up for better matchups with him, but you're still rolling out those guys. Ravens, I think you're wanting to start Flacco. I think you're wanting to look now at Mike Wallace.
Finally.
I mean,
it's his favorite target.
Yeah, it's his favorite target. He's going to be going to him. So I think you look at putting him in maybe as your third wide receiver. I don't know if you can trust the running game right there in Ravens right now. That's a real mess. But we do have a return of Dennis Pitta. I don't know how long you can trust him though. I mean, you can. Yeah. I think in a tight end situation where it's so thin, I think you can start him week to week until he gets injured.
I can honestly say this is the thinnest the tight end position has been in years. Out of these first 2 weeks, I can't and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that Gronk hasn't been around, because he's kind of polarizes that entire group. But nobody is week to week.
When you're getting great play out of Doyle and Vance McDonald,
Doyle
rules.
Doyle rules.
And you know what? If Vance McDonald wouldn't have caught that one
Oh, I know. That was it.
He would have done nothing. He was literally. Alex
flop.
called me out for not starting him, and if he wouldn't have had that one catch, he would have had literally nothing.
One thing, I got confused. I thought that was the opening drive of the game. I thought that was the 4 o'clock game starting. So that is why I called you out on it, because I was like, oh, well, he's going to be huge. But I didn't realize that was. I wasn't even. My wires got crossed, and I was making fun of you because I thought, okay, here's going to be a 200-yard.
It was funny.
Outing by Vance McDonald.
I'm not jumping off the Jason Witten train yet, so I'm still holding on. But
I'm going to go with the Jaguars. I think they're going to bounce back and win this one.
All right, Alex, who are you taking?
Yeah, I got to go Jacksonville.
Brent.
I will be taking the home team, Jacksonville.
Oh God, me too. I'm taking Jaguars. And honestly, I think that Blake Bortles has a good game in this one. So, Brent, Lions at Packers.
Lions at Packers. It's in Green Bay. I'm hoping that Green Bay's offense finally turns it around. Like, I am so disappointed with what they've done the first couple of weeks. I really thought having Jordy back would actually be beneficial to them, and it really hasn't sparked anything. And neither has Eddie Lacy, neither has Aaron Rodgers, Randall Cobb. Nobody's really done anything yet. And I don't know if they're all just trying to get back in sync or what's going on, but this could be the week. Detroit's defense isn't anything to be proud of, so I think Packers could really light up Detroit this week in Green Bay. But on the opposite side of the ball, Detroit, you might want to start Marvin Jones. That guy has produced in 2 straight weeks. Green Bay has a couple cornerbacks, defensive backs that are injured right now, so Marvin Jones and Golden Tate might be some sneaky plays this week that I think you can start and gain an advantage on your opponent.
Marvin Jones has definitely looked the part so far this season, so he's kind of living up to those off-season expectations that people are open on. Golden Tate, not so much.
Yeah, Golden Tate's kind of faded off into the background.
Yeah, he's a bum.
I could see this game as a shootout. This is actually Green Bay is favored by 9.5 points in this game.
Oh my God!
So if you're taking
that's ridiculous.
It might be a little closer than that.
I don't know. The line I'm seeing is like 7.5 to Green Bay, but still that's a lot.
Yeah, it's still
over a touchdown.
Yeah.
All right, Alex.
I'm going Detroit. Honestly, it's been basically a year and a half of games since we've seen, this team really click. So I don't know what the problem is. It seems like it's an Aaron Rodgers problem. Can't get his team going.
Nope. All right, Van Cleef, who are you taking?
He just needs to stop going to Devontae Adams.
Oh my God! Why is he still on the field? Why is he on the field?
I think because he's tall.
Ty Montgomery is one of those guys that I've been waiting on because I want to see him in there because he's a big guy.
Jeff Janis or Jared Abbrederis, I give them a shot at least. Take out Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams is garbage.
Van Cleef, who are you taking?
I think since it's at Green Bay, I think I got to take the Packers. I think they're gonna show up. I think a little bit more this week, since especially being at home.
Brent,
I like Green Bay in this matchup just because it's at home. I'd actually probably take Detroit if it was in Detroit.
Me too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a closer game than what they're saying, and I think it's going to be kind of a shootout. I'm going Packers. I think that they get back into it. I hope. Alex, Broncos at Bengals.
Well, this there's a lot. There's a lot that can be talked about. C.J. Anderson has been the Broncos, and I'll be the first one to admit that I did not see that happening. I did not like C.J. Anderson at all. So of anybody on that, both teams, I'm definitely looking at C.J. Anderson to continue what he was doing. And then you have A.J. Green. After that, you're kind of trying to piece together what you want to do with those wide receivers for Denver. Trevor Siemian's look serviceable. So you're kind of, I don't know. I'm not in love with any of the wide receivers, especially how the Bengals shut down. I almost said Andre Brown, Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown. I'm not really looking at Demarius or Emmanuel Sanders to really get a whole lot going. And I think maybe a sneaky play could be Giovanni Bernard, but man, that Denver defense still looks really good.
Yeah. I could see Gio maybe having a game like you said. And the Bengals Bengals Steelers game was really rainy. It was crappy out. I don't know. I think that the Broncos they could still, who knows though. Go ahead and pick it, Alex. Who are you taking?
I'm gonna go Bengals in an upset. I don't know if that's actually an upset or not, but I think
Cincinnati's favored by 3.5 in this game.
So. That's weird.
There you go.
Okay.
Van Cleef.
I'm going to take the upset and take the Broncos.
Ooh. All right.
I'm taking Cincinnati.
I am going to take Cincinnati as well. Van Cleef, you got the Vikings at Panthers.
All right. Well, there's a lot of things going on with the Vikings. As we know, they lost a quarterback, now lost a running back. Who do they have? But it's not like Adrian Peterson was a factor anyways in the running game. I think the Vikings will still be all right. They may not stack the box as much, which may help with the running game a little bit, but I still think you look for Stephon Diggs. If you have no other option at quarterback, you may be able to stream Sam Bradford, but I don't like him in this matchup here. The Panthers, I think you're starting Cam Newton. I think you're starting Kelvin Benjamin. And if you've been bitten by the injury bug on running backs, I think you can. I think that backfield is a mess now because there's a report out that Cameron Artis-Payne is going to get a lot more, and he may even get the start.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
They haven't even dressed him. Like
that's because he doesn't have any role on special teams. So that's why he's in a healthy scratch. But he has. They've announced that he's supposed to be the feature back. So.
Yes. And so I think Fozzie Wicker's still going to get some touches. So playing a running back from that team may be a mess. But if you have to start somebody, I'd probably start Fozzie just because you know what he can be able to put up. But I'd still be scared to start any running back from there. But I'm going to actually take the Panthers on this one here. It's at home. I think I'm going to take the Panthers.
Yep. Alex, who you taking?
Oh, gosh. Panthers.
Brent?
Also taking Carolina Panthers.
I saw that they said that was Fozzie Whitaker's first 100-yard rushing game since high school. So he didn't have one in college and he hasn't had one in the pros. Wow. I would maybe put my eggs in that Cameron Artis-Payne basket and see how that works out for you. I'm going to take the Vikings. I like them. I like their defense. I think that they're playing well. I think they're going to beat the Panthers at home.
Yeah, now that Teddy Bridgewater and AP are no longer on, playing for them, I'm rooting for Minnesota. It's weird. Like
me
they
too.
are such an underdog right now, and I want them to do well. Like
me too.
Seeing Diggs, the post-game interview, man, he's a good guy.
I like him.
I want him to do well because I want a higher conditional pick for the other pick, the Eagles, that they got. I mean, because it seems like right now everybody's happy because Minnesota has a quarterback that can actually get it to, whoever needs to get it, they need to get it to, and Carson Wentz has looked great. So it's been happy for both.
I'm loving Stephon Diggs, and we talked about this off air, but you guys know what I think about him, so.
Yeah,
he's not a top 5. He's not top 5.
Watch out.
Top 5.
Watch out.
We can talk about more of that some other time. Brent, you got the Rams at the Bucks.
I'll pass.
I don't want to pick this game either.
So Yeah, Doug Martin, he's out for a few weeks. Charles Sims is now the back there, and they have Jaquiz Rogers behind him. I'd say start Charles Sims. He's been a good flex option lately, but now in the starting role, I want to see what he can actually do. But I think this is a pretty good matchup to do that in against the Rams defense, which is tough, but at the same time, I don't think their offense is going to supply much of an attack against Tampa Bay's offense. Jameis Winston might be a risky play this week, but I say start Charles Sims and Mike Evans. On the opposite side, I think Gurley bounces back this week. I think he is in a great matchup against Tampa Bay's defense.
Mm-hmm. I hope he bounces back. I feel kind of bad for that dude. The Rams have just not been. They beat the Seahawks, so I guess you got that.
They always beat the
With
Seahawks, though.
field
That's
goals.
not
That's
true.
true.
Yeah.
It's true. All right, go ahead and pick it,
Oh,
Alex.
I'm gonna go Tampa Bay. They can score a
Vaguely.
touchdown.
Van Cleve, now you can go.
I'm taking Tampa Bay. I think Jameis Winston actually bounces back. I know he had a horrible week last week, but I think that that secondary Rams isn't that great, so I think he's going to bounce back.
Brent, who are you taking?
Give me the Rams.
I like it. Bold. I actually dropped Jameis in 2 different leagues.
What?
Yeah, I'm streaming quarterback. I'm done. There's some other matchups I like better with some guys that are on the waiver wire, so I don't really feel too bad about it. I'm going to take the Buccaneers, though, and we'll see what happens. Alex, you got the 49ers at Seahawks.
Something kind of crazy out of last week is that there were some rumblings that I was hearing about about a quarterback change. But, I mean, Blaine Gabbert has been pretty serviceable, and I don't know. I don't think that – okay, as an Eagles fan, I know what Chip Kelly is capable of, and I also know where his downfalls are. And the biggest downfall is that your defense is going to get overworked because they're going to be on the field constantly, and it actually hinders your offense. So I think one thing is that it's hard for a guy like Carlos Hyde to really get things going, because that's something that chews up clock. That's something that teams use to kind of grind out things. And he had a great first week. He had a great first week of last year too, and then kind of tailed off. And then he had kind of a poor week this past week. I kind of look for that to continue, or I look for the downtrend to continue. I think that even though Seattle, I think you're starting Christian Michael, Rawls 7 for -7.
Bad.
And I heard rumors that he was pulled for performance, not that he was actually hurt. It's going to be an interesting game to kind of see. These are 2 teams that are, I don't think anybody really knows what they are yet, because we've seen 2 straight weeks where Russell Wilson really hasn't been very good, and we've seen 1 week for San Francisco where they were able to put up 30 points, and then we saw and not have the other team score any, and then watch a Panthers team come in and throw on 50 plus. So I think that when I'm looking at this game, I've got to go with kind of the instant reaction that the Seahawks should win this game.
Yeah. Van Cleve, who are you taking?
I'm taking the Seahawks on this. I think that it's up there in home. They're money at home, and I think that so Seahawks will find a way to win. It's a divisional game, so they're going to play them tough. But I think Seahawks do pull it out.
Brent, who you
Yep,
got?
Seahawks.
Yeah, I am going to take the Seahawks as well, and I hope that they run Christian Michael. Give him the chance. He's looked good.
Yeah.
Rawls, obviously something's wrong.
Yeah.
If he's not injured, he's just not running right now. Put your team in the position to win. I think that Christian Michael gives them that. So I will take the Seahawks. Van Cleve, you got the Jets at Chiefs.
All right. Not much to say about them, really. So there's a couple question marks with the wide receiver on the Jets. Brandon Marshall got injured last week, but came back. But still, he's on the injury report. Even Decker was questionable as well. I still think you're starting those two, and Forte. Obviously, he's been nothing but outstanding, and he's going to get the ball even more. So I think you're starting Fitzgerald, Forte, Marshall, and Decker on that team. I think Decker's still a good flex option. He's going to get some TDs. And I think that defense is going to be way better than the Chiefs' offense. The Chiefs' offense it's been really. Last week, Stephen Ware didn't even show up. They had to put Kendrick West in. I don't know who to start on running back anymore on that team. Macklin's not even a good start.
Macklin had 15 targets last week.
Yeah, but what was his yardage though?
He only caught 5 of them.
Yeah, because they're not throwing it to anybody else. Like I don't understand that team at all.
Yeah.
Like
I just don't think that offense is really producing. So I really don't see much. If you have to stream quarterbacks, Alex Smith, it's gonna be all right.
Darrell Revis has given up a couple big plays in each of the last 2 weeks too.
Looking old.
Yeah, he's looking old, but Macklin's no young chicken. So
I don't know how old he is.
No spring chicken.
I don't think he's that old, is he?
Yeah, he's like 27, 28.
So
in his prime.
I think that right now you could start Macklin, and I don't think this is a bad matchup to do it.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a DraftKings or something, I think that's a great start because I think that he could burn Revis.
I think this is one of those matchups where it's going to be close. Either a low-scoring game close, or it could be a really high-scoring game close. I think it could go back and forth. These guys have the offenses that can put up points, but they also have the defense that can keep the scores low, too.
Yeah.
It literally could go either way.
I know it's at Arrowhead, but I'm going to take the Jets on this one.
All right. Hey, I want to ask you as well, being a Matt Forte owner, do you think have you thought about trading him? Is now the time to trade Matt Forte? He's had 2 great games. He can't do any better than he's done. He's old.
I think in Dynasty leagues, if you can get something for him, go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that he's going to carry. I think he's going to carry your team a little bit. But that usage does caution you a little bit, just because
30 runs.
Yeah, that's a lot, especially for his age. But I mean, it's nothing like he's not looking like he's slowing down. So it's a tough call because I mean he's right now one of the bright spots at running backs when running backs are so bleak right now.
So what do you think you could get for him?
If for Dynasty,
yeah, sure.
You're looking to get at maybe really try to get a high draft pick out of him. I mean, because the way he's producing and stuff, to give up. Because you think about him, if he's because right now if you have him on team, you're probably winning games. Is to give that up, you're probably wanting something as far as that kind of value.
You don't think go after like an upper echelon receiver or something?
You could, yeah. I mean, yeah, if you can get something out of there. There's tons of wide receivers out there. It wouldn't be a bad to go out at echelon receiver. Yeah, if you can get somebody good out of them. Who do you think you can
get after in regular drafts? Forte was going after the likes of DeMarco Murray. Would you trade for him? Would you trade for LaShawn McCoy? Would you trade for
like me personally? I would, but like I would be trying to aim my sights a little bit higher. I was thinking target like a DeAndre Hopkins, somebody that hasn't been great, but that is that Allen Robinson maybe. I would trade Matt Forte for an Allen Robinson.
Yep.
Personally, and I think that you might be able to get one of those owners to do that. So
yeah, that's possible.
All right, I was curious. Alex, who are you taking in this game?
Well, I think that next year the Jets are going to have AP as their running back because they only get old people. But I'm going Jets. Their offense is just better. I mean, I can't see a situation where, throwing the ball to one guy 15 times is because you're a good offense.
Yeah.
I mean, you have nothing. Like there was so much talk about I think what's his last name? Is it Cooley or I can't even remember his last name. No, not Chris Cooley, but
It's Conley.
Conley. About him breaking out. Haven't heard anything from him. Haven't heard anything from any of the other wide receivers. Like basically, other than Kelsey and Macklin, there's no receivers.
Hey, Brent, who you taking in this game?
I like the Jets as well, just because their defensive line is stacked, and they will be making Alex Smith run for his life all game.
Your guys' reasons are very valid. I am going to take the Chiefs just because I am. I think that this could turn into a game where the Chiefs might be able to score on them, and I think that the Jets are going to struggle. They're a little hurt. I think that they're old, and we'll see how it plays out.
Aren't the Jets always old, though? I mean,
it sure seems that way. All right, Brent, you got the Chargers at Colts.
Colts defense is banged up, but they are getting a little more healthy. I'm not sure if their defensive backs, Vontae Davis and their rookie TJ Green, some of them are going to be, I don't know, I'm not sure if they're going to be playing this week or not, but San Diego should have a heyday just throwing all over them and running all over them too. Melvin Gordon, start him. He's a stud so far. Keep going with that streak and that role that he's on. The Indy side of the ball, San Diego's defense, they held Jacksonville really, really well last week. A really good offense in Jacksonville. They held them. Indy, Andrew Luck's coming in. You have Dante Moncrief down. If you can pick up Philip Dorsett, do it. I think he's a completely valid option to start this week. He's got the speed that he can burn some of these San Diego defensive backs, I would think. But in this matchup, I would probably lean towards I would say Indy this week just to get their first win at home.
God, I hope you're right. Alex, who are you taking?
Not the Colts. I mean, they are a garbage fire. To me, they are just like I was watching the Philly game, and we had a starter that was a 7th round draft pick, and I was like, gosh, I bet Indy wishes that they had a guy that they drafted in the 7th round to be a starting corner, and he only gave up that one big pass to Jeffrey. I just think the Colts are terrible. I mean, Moncrief going out, that's not good. I do say that, they kind of have a next man up kind of thing. That are stacked at that position, so that helps. But I don't know if they just don't look good. They just have too many missing pieces on defense. They just don't have pass rush. They don't have defense, and I don't think that they have a chance to win.
All right, so you're taking San Diego. Van Cleve, who are you taking?
I'm actually going to take the Colts. It's at home. I think that they'll find a way to win. Charger secondary isn't that anything to be wild about. I know that they were bad last year. I don't think they've gotten too much better than last year. I think the Colts will find a way to win. I think Andrew Luck will find a way to win.
I'm going to do the reverse jinx, and I'm going to take the Chargers in hopes that the Colts win.
Melvin Gordon, 200 yards.
Dude,
I'll take the under, but just barely.
Well, obviously, but I'm starting Melvin Gordon. Spoiler alert! In every single DraftKings that I'm doing, Alex will hate that, but like
everyone, I hate that.
Literally, right now, like I have such a hard time not starting him against this. I haven't started him in all of them, but like I have no problem in any cash game. I think that's a great play, but let's move it on. Next game.
I have Melvin Gordon in too.
It's a great matchup. Alex, you got the Steelers at Eagles.
This is always a fun game. I think that Well, I was just talking about that secondary that I thought that they were a lot deeper than they are. They actually don't have a lot of DBs. As far as that is concerned, the Eagles are going to get torched by Antonio Brown. I think there's a difference between Jeffrey and Antonio Brown, and I don't think that that they're really going to have an answer. I think that this is going to be obviously the toughest matchup that the Eagles have. I don't know what's wrong with both Nelson Aguilar and Jordan Matthews. Both had huge drops in the end zone. I mean, just flat out dropped the ball. So they're going up against a little bit better defense as well with Pittsburgh, young defense, kind of up and coming. Big Ben is going to be a test for a young defense. I think you're still starting. If you have Carson Wentz, I would still start him. I think he's gotten to a point where you have to start considering him to start, depending on who you have. And I think that Matthews is kind of a judgment call. He's kind of scary, but I do like him in this situation. You're obviously starting D'Angelo Williams, which will be his last full week. I'm still going to take the Eagles because I'm always a homer. I have never in any pick'em picked against the Eagles, and I'm not going to start.
Way to make me feel like crap. So
you should.
I do now. Van Cleve, who are you taking?
I'm taking the Steelers. I think they're going to continue to win, and I think that their offense is a little bit better than the Eagles right now. So,
Brent,
if I wasn't a homer, I would probably pick
Brent, who you taking?
Alex's speech was inspiring, and I think I want to change Indy to San Diego now. But no, I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this one.
All right. I am going to take the Steelers as well, and I hope that Antonio Brown has a huge game because I love him so much, and I felt bad for him last week.
I love him too, but I'm hoping that they figure out a way to Nolan Carroll. Yeah, Nolan Carroll and I just lost the Nolan Carroll and Malcolm Jenkins. They're not gonna be able to contain him.
It should be a fun game to watch, though.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our Sunday night game. Van Cleve, Bears at Cowboys.
Ugh. There's not much to talk about on this team. These two teams.
Tell me about Dak Prescott.
Oh yeah,
tell me about Dak.
Best quarterback that's ever held a pigskin.
I want more. Tell me more.
Oh man, Dak is the future.
I thought you'd say Brian Hoyer was a little better, but
yeah, probably. No, all right. So, real quick on these two teams because there's not too much on here. Jeremy Langford looks awful. So I would be, if I'm in Dynasty, definitely trying to get Josh Howard if Jordan Howard if he's
Jordan.
not. Yeah, thank you. If he's on the waiver wire, picking him up. I think you're still starting Alshon. I think he's going to still be good. I think Brian Hoyer is a capable quarterback that can get to him. I'm not sure about Kevin White. We're still waiting for that emergence. He's getting some few targets, getting some few yards, which is good to see. But you're still waiting for that big game. Then I think for the Cowboys side, I think you're still starting Ezekiel. I think you're still rolling Dez out. You can start Witten, I think, definitely on that. I think a good streaming or even a daily might be Dak Prescott. I know everybody has been saying it for the last 3 years, but the Bears defense is nothing.
It's bad, and you know that Dak is better than Carson Wentz. So,
yeah. Oh my god!
I mean, leaps and bounds. I don't know why. I don't know why Carson Wentz in the first round.
Oh, God.
I mean,
There was a thing about during that game. Did you guys watch that game?
Yeah, a little bit of it. Yeah.
Well, there was a point where they were talking about that. Alshon Jeffrey is the oldest draft pick they have. Isn't that bizarre?
Didn't know that.
Yeah, like they only have 20 players on their team that they've drafted.
Huh.
And it's like the by far the lowest. So weird.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
I'm actually going to take the Cowboys on this one. In prime time, I think the Cowboys pull this one out.
I'll allow it. Hey, Brent, were you getting ready to say something?
I was going to say that Chicago had a ton of injuries in that Monday night game against the Eagles.
So many.
And there were so many key injuries to their line, and I think this could be the game where Ezekiel Elliott might break out. It was supposed to be last week against Washington, but he has looked terrible. But he's getting volume, so I think this might be that game where they really control the ball quite a bit against Chicago's defense, especially being home in Dallas. Dallas is definitely going to win this game.
All right, Alex.
Another sneaky play you might want to throw in is Eddie Royal. They used him a lot. And so if you're really hurting, if you got a lot of injuries stacked up, kind of look at that. I'm going to go with Chicago, and the only reason is that it seems like in these weird games, Brian Hoyer becomes Peyton Manning.
It's truth.
It
Hope
could
not.
happen in this game because Dallas's defense is pretty terrible too.
It is not good either. I'm gonna take the Cowboys though. I think that Dak Prescott has a good game. I think that Ezekiel Elliott has a good game. I think that Des Bryant has a good game. So we'll see. Brent, why don't you do us the favor of doing the Monday night game, Falcons at Saints?
Oh man, just start everyone.
Everybody.
Anytime New Orleans plays, you could start everyone. This is in New Orleans. It's in the Dome. Drew Brees, and he's going up against Atlanta Falcons. And these two teams, they dominate the points. Like they just go crazy in these matchups. It's a divisional game, but they put up so many points. It's always like a high 20, 30, 40-point games. And I really think this is going to be no different. It's just going to be start all your guys. You can start Matt Ryan, who is, by the way, the number 2 fantasy quarterback right now.
Who's he behind?
Oh, probably like Dak Prescott or something.
I would assume it's Cam Newton.
I don't know. I don't see who he could be behind, but he's looked really good. And we had all these expectations for last week, but in the back of your head, like you were thinking that Giants Saints game could maybe underwhelm, and it did. I think that this game is not going to. I think that Drew Brees is going to blow the roof off the doors.
And it's on Monday night too, so Drew Brees is awesome on Monday nights.
And having said that things didn't work out so well for that Giants game, it's kind of you're gonna start Cooks, you're gonna start whichever wide receiver that you have in those games, but don't be shocked if Cooks burns you, and it goes all to Michael Thomas, because that's just. It's not going to Kobe Fleener, I can tell you that much.
Hey, why don't you go ahead and pick this game?
I'm going to go Atlanta.
Hotlanta. Van Cleef, who you taking?
Hotlanta.
Brent.
Give me New Orleans.
All right. I'm going Saints as well. Should be a fun game to watch though. All right, so that concludes our Week 3 preview. I did want to talk about our pick'ems last week. I didn't do it at the beginning of the segment, but last week, Alex, good job. You went 11-5. I went 11-5 as well. Brent was 9-7, and Van Cleef was 6-10. So a little bit better than the week before, but yeah, we'll see how this week plays out, and we'll go over it again.
I think Matt Ryan's leading in everything.
Yeah, I don't see who he could be behind, but I trust Brent. He's smart.
Behind Cam Newton, I think Cam Newton and Drew Brees are up there with him.
Yeah, well, Drew Brees had one great game, and then last week.
It probably depends on your scoring format. But
yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Before we close out the show, let's talk a little bit of DFS. Some daily fantasy sports We have been doing the DraftKings little league that we do between us. I've been getting in on the big tournaments, and I've been doing some double ups. I've been doing probably about 9 to 15 this first 2 weeks, so I should be somewhere in there again this week. But we're just gonna go over some of our lineups. I think I picked one that I really like, and you guys are gonna do the same thing. We won't dwell on it too long. I want to read it off, and then you tell me what you think, and then how you guys adjust accordingly. Like this week, how I've been doing my daily stuff. I've been kind of starting off with a quarterback wide receiver stack or a quarterback tight end stack. I like to stack that position. I like to pick that, and then I pick my defense, and then I go back and I work my way down. And that's how I've been kind of constructing my lineups here lately. So like this week, I started off with Ryan Tannehill because why not? He's $6,200. I know, Alex, you hate him, but he can produce when it comes down to it.
I don't hate who he's thrown to because he's on mine.
And that's I got Jarvis Landry as my one of my wide receivers because I like to keep that stack up there. I'm starting Melvin Gordon for 5,800 because why not? You can't.
Yeah.
I'm starting Theo Riddick, who is still priced at 4,900. This was before the Abdullah news, so I think that and especially in DraftKings with the PPR, I think that's a steal. I'm starting Amari Cooper for 7,700. He's my wide receiver one. And I got Jarvis Landry, Willie Snead for 6,500. I think that he could have a huge game against Atlanta. I went down in tight end, which is something I hadn't really been doing. I've been kind of spending it up on it, but I went with Jacob Tammy because I want at least a Falcon in that game, and he was only $3,200. I think that could be a pretty sneaky tight end that could perform. In my flex, I put Marvin Jones because he's been doing me pretty well here so far, and then I started the Raiders defense for 2,600 because why not?
Yeah, what I typically do is I hit the defense, I hit the tight end, then I start going through, and I usually go maybe just grab some wide receivers and the running backs and the quarterback, and then it's kind of like my present to myself is my flex. So, I started off. I have to take the Dolphins to start. Cleveland is not going to do well. And then I went. I also kind of dug a little deep. I'm going to ride the Pitta train until it runs off the tracks, which will probably be this week because he has to get injured at some point. And then I started looking at. I actually went up to quarterback. I wanted to grab somebody that was going to be low, that probably isn't going to get a lot of starts, which is Winston. He's got a tough matchup, but at the same time, I think that he has what it takes to, he can be really good or he can be really bad. I'm hoping that he can at least find a middle ground or do really well. I also started Melvin Gordon. I mean, you gotta. Right. Instead of Landry, I went with Parker in that Miami wide receiving. Also, another cheap buy, Sterling Shepard. All of these are under $6,000. And then I guess my linchpin running back is DeMarco Murray, which is 6,300. And then I threw in Mike Wallace because he's only $5. And then my flex, my present to myself was Julio Jones.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
How about you, Van Cleve?
Well, I do a similar where I go with defense and then tight end, and then I go down from quarterback down to wide receiver. But I'll just kind of go down my list. I started Phillip Rivers against NDD. He may be a lot of people might be playing him, but it's a good matchup. And then I went with Frank Gore, going on the cheap side, but going against the San Diego offense that allows some run for running room. Then I went Charles Sims. He's still pretty cheap. He's at 4,900. He'll be getting the start. He'll be a good play against them. And then so I have a few like big wide receivers and a few like hidden gems that I'm hoping that. I went Antonio Brown and Julio, doubled up on that. But then with my cheap ones, I went with Philip Dorsett because Moncrief's out.
Yeah, that's a great one.
And then also went with Tyrell Williams as well.
Yeah.
Those are my two cheap guys that will allow me to give me those two. I did kind of a mix where I've got some hidden people that could have some good games, and I got my solid guys that I know that will score the points. My tight end, I went with Kyle Rudolph. He's actually been producing. He was actually targeted second most on that team. And so, why not pick up a cheap play? And then I actually went with the 49er defense against the Seahawks. It's a division game. Seahawks offense has not been looking good. Russell Wilson's tweaked his I believe it's an ankle. So I think that the 49ers defense could, going against the division, be very good and a sneaky play this week. And only at 2,400.
Very sneaky indeed. Brent, why don't you talk to us about your lineup?
Mine is kind of a combination of all your guys'. Like pretty much everyone we've talked about. I got a few other guys though, but I kind of do the same thing that Alex does, where I choose my defense and the tight end first because you can usually get good value at cheap prices in the very beginning, so that you can actually focus on your big spenders here later on when you go to pick. But I went Dolphins also. I think going against Cleveland, that rookie quarterback, you just don't know what to expect, and Dolphins could come away with a defensive touchdown somewhere in there. Then I went Dennis Pitta as well. The guy could get you 10 targets a game. I mean, he's going to get some production for very, very cheap. Then I went up to quarterback, and I chose Marcus Mariota in this one. He was cheaper than Jameis Winston. He's going against Oakland's defense. They're in Tennessee. Oakland's defense is their passing defense is the worst in the league. It has given up quite a few points to they've given up, I think, 34 points in week 1, 35 points in week 2 to Drew Brees and Matt Ryan. Now, Marcus Mariota is not either of those guys, but he's in a good matchup and at home. So kind of a sneaky play. I chose not to do a stack with Marcus Mariota, though. My wide receivers, I went with Odell Beckham, who I feel like he could break out this game against Washington, also at home. I went with Philip Dorsett as well. He was a cheap value, and in that offense, he could produce a couple big games, hopefully, for a touchdown. And I also went Travis Benjamin. Travis Benjamin still relatively cheap at 5,200. So Beckham, Benjamin, Dorsett. My running backs, I went with Charles Sims as well, very cheap for a starting running back. And I chose Ezekiel Elliott to hopefully break out against Chicago, being at home in Dallas. So my gift to myself as well in the flex spot, I chose Mr. Todd Gurley, who hopefully will break out this week. So, and I still have $100 remaining.
I had 600. I was pretty excited about that. I wish that actually, if you produce like a certain like amount of points for like per dollar you spent, that would be a cool little game to play. That'd be fun.
It'd be interesting to see how it worked out. I normally I don't try to make sure that I spend every penny, but I normally try to get pretty close.
Yeah.
Well, I think after going over those, it's pretty clear that I'm going to win this week a lot of money. So
you chose Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, you did. You picked Ryan.
You have to realize
Tannehill.
Miami's defense is going to score all their points this week.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not going.
Tannehill isn't even going to be, doing a whole lot other than throwing to Devontae Parker. He's not going to be doing anything else.
Well, you'll see when Jarvis Landry has 14 catches this week. But let's go ahead and we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for listening, everybody. Follow us on Twitter, #4 Horsemen Pod. Hit us up on email, the same tag at gmail.com. Next week we'll be seeing how this all played out and do the whole thing again. Peace.